Welcome back to Been There, Watch That. This is the speed round. We've got a time crunch here, so we're going to run through this 1983 film picked by Dave, The Big Chill.
The Big Chill.
Well, should I go ahead and just drop the bomb
Joe,
here and
come on.
say we don't have to worry about the time crunch because it's not going to take long to dump on this heap?
Oh, Joseph. Just because there's no actual gunshots and explosions doesn't mean you don't have to not like it. Come on now.
BeenThereWatchThat.com for all our previous episodes.
Yes,
Check it out.
and I've been busy. I finally had the website up to date. We're up to date as of last episode.
Sweet. Yeah, the last one was Rounders by me.
Yeah.
Which got, decent reviews.
Yeah.
It's a safe pick on my part. I had some other ideas, the Batman, but then I decided I chose the better option, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Before that was Pulp
So,
Fiction.
how could you not like this, Joe? The writer of Raiders of the Lost Ark, Star Wars, and now The Big Chill. Come on, man.
Yeah,
Okay.
Joe.
Yeah, Joe.
Steven Spielberg and Howard the Duck.
Oh, gosh.
There you go.
With that kind of taste, now I understand.
Well, no, you said, how could somebody flop? Well, I just gave you an example.
Oh, baloney.
All right, so you guys ready for a rundown and casting call?
Yep.
A once close-knit gang of friends, including an actor, a doctor and her husband, a Vietnam veteran, and a journalist, meets for a weekend after a funeral of their much-envied friend Alex, who committed suicide. The friends spend the weekend confronting the personal truths, sacrifices, and betrayals they have left them disenchanted. Each must contend with unresolved issues they have with Alex and with one another. So for the casting call, we have Tom Berenger plays Sam. He's known for Platoon and Major League. Glenn Close plays Sarah. She's known for Fatal Attraction and Guardians of the Galaxy. Jeff Goldblum plays Michael, and he's known for Jurassic Park and Independence Day. Kevin Kline plays Harold, and he's known for Wild Wild West, Dave, and A Fish Called Wanda. And Kevin Costner, which makes no appearance. We'll discuss that here shortly. He's known for Dances with Wolves, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and The Bodyguard.
And he was in one we watched, that baseball one. Wasn't he in Bull Durham?
Yes.
Yes, and Bull Durham, which is in our archives.
Been there, watch that.com.
Okay, so my first complaint about this whole... Take a breath, Joe, take a breath.
Yeah.
My whole issue, well, one of my many issues with this movie, how in the world is Kevin Costner credited with this film and not even make an appearance?
Well, he does. You just don't see his face. He's the dead body.
But you don't even see...
You don't see his face.
Yeah.
But he's still there.
Well, based on that, I've been in every movie in the last 10 years. You just never saw my face.
Well, but you see his body when they're arranging him for the funeral, arranging his hands and stuff.
I didn't even notice.
Yep.
So, supposedly, flashback scenes with Kevin Costner as Alex Marshall were filmed, but was completely cut out of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they polled the audience, and the audience did not want that as part of the movie.
Yeah, they liked it better without it.
Yeah, because that might have made the story entertaining.
Well, I think that it was nice that you didn't have a face to him because, I don't know, that's how I took it. I thought it was just...
Yeah, I was okay with that.
It's better being faceless.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I have no complaints with
Because you
that.
can kind of write him in as you saw him.
Right, which I have no issues with, but the whole thought of, well, this movie stars Kevin Costner, and you're sitting the whole time and you don't see him. I mean, if they could have done just, like, even just a picture, beside the casket or something, I've been cool with that.
I think that was the point, though. You get to draw Alex up as you saw him.
But then to turn around and say, this movie stars Kevin Costner. No, it doesn't.
Has his body in it. All right, outside of that little technical glitch, Joe, the rest of the movie was awesome, obviously.
Yeah, to push back, counter argument to you, Joe, this was nominated for Best Picture by
And
Academy Awards. Right here.
and Glenn Close.
And
got
what
nominated.
and what drugs and or alcohol were they on when this decision was
Oh,
made?
jeez.
It was the 80s.
This is the 80s.
Okay.
This was a think piece, man. This is comedy drama.
Yeah, the thought was, why would anybody spend money on this?
Well, I think the problem is you have to be older to kind of grasp the concepts because they're just the whole theme of the movie is they're dealing with midlife crisis, no longer kids, they have real responsibilities. Even though they kind of revert back to their old habits, like the football game at Thanksgiving and out in the yard, stuff like that. They're
Right.
old. They're old.
there's
And
kids
they've
of
been
the
through
60s,
stuff.
so they're coming from a different era, the 60s, where they
Yeah.
had this
Wide open.
wide-eyed optimism about their ability to change the world, and then they kind of
And then
come
reality
back as
kicks them
adults.
in the pants.
Yeah.
And I felt like William Hurt's character Nick, him being a Vietnam veteran and having potency problems and just being a drug dealer and just really lost. So I don't know.
Yeah.
And then you have Kevin Kline trying to deal with that as a respectable citizen in his hometown.
Yeah, he's the one that's kind of at peace with himself more than some of the others, and
He's kind of accepted that adult role.
Yeah.
Tom Berenger's an actor who's famous obviously, but he's hollow. And then Jeff Goldblum wants to be somebody, but he's not. He's still a kid. I don't know. I found it intriguing. And then you had Mary Kay Place, who played Meg Jones. She wanted a kid, but didn't have a guy in line. So, yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
I found it interesting. And the soundtrack, my gosh, the soundtrack. You gotta love the movie just for the soundtrack.
Okay, I will give you credit there on the soundtrack.
Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
Yeah, I will give you credit on that one. But like most of this movie, I found myself as like literally, basically they're all sitting there whining and complaining because their life sucks, and as far as they didn't turn out as rich and famous as they thought they'd be. Reality hit them, big whoop. It happens to all of us. Move on.
Joe breaks it down in one sentence. Reality's here, big whoop. Move on.
And then just out of nowhere, there's Glenn Close sitting butt naked in a shower. It's like, okay. I mean, it just.
Well, I mean, that's how you take showers.
I know, but like, what? Okay, so you couldn't show Kevin Costner's face, but
see that
showing Glenn Close butt naked in a shower.
That
helps with the story move along.
That was therapy in the 80s.
Just sitting in the shower butt naked.
Yeah, people go to the shower and cry. I guess.
Crying too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was just kind of thrown in. It felt like a little bit of a jarring. Scene.
I think it was just her breaking down, and that was her private place. And,
Right. Yeah.
I took it as she's kind of the patriarch there, where she's trying to hold everybody together, taking care of everything, planning the meals and stuff, and then even the strongest have to break.
Right.
That's how I took it.
Which I get it, but it's like it was just kind of random.
Yeah, that was the whole point, though. You never can tell when a person might break.
Well, this is true, but it's like, come
is
on.
Is she significantly older than the rest of the cast, or is she like 10 years older than them, or how does her character play in? If she was born in 47. It's pretty much the same age as a lot of these other guys. Like Berenger, I know, is 1949, something like that.
Okay, yeah, Tom Berenger's like 3 years younger than Glenn Close.
So yeah, realistic that she was friends with him, but maybe was just a little bit older than them.
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum's that same age. So.
Yeah, I felt like all the characters were right in that ballpark.
Yeah.
So yeah, these aren't actors pretending to play people who grew up in the 60s. They actually did. It's kind of like.
Yeah, I felt like they were all familiar with the roles. And it talked about in one of the things I looked up is that they were in. It was all filmed in a small town. They didn't have anywhere to go, so they all hung out the house and got to know each other. They cooked a meal together without anybody there, just the characters or just the actors that are part of that cast, and spent 5-6 hours doing that by themselves just to get to know each other, and they ended up becoming friends, which I felt the chemistry in the movie was spot on.
Oh, I thought they were all old friends from back in the day or something.
Yeah.
No, they got to know each other on the set.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So, one of those things where, it's not a ton of excitement or anything like that, but
yeah, it all kind of hinges on the interactions between characters in a close space, not so much, there's no big adventure going on or anything.
Yeah, it was. I know, Dave, you're busting me on the no explosions and all that, but it's like I just couldn't wrap my head around. It's like this one guy's a successful actor and he's whining and complaining. It's like, dude, you just want to reach the TV and just slap him off. It's like, listen, life happens. But like, you're a doctor, you're an actor. It's like y'all don't have half the problems that the rest of us real people have.
You know, I understand what you're saying, but there's always, you know, somebody always floats it out there. Money can't buy happiness.
Yeah, but you can rent it.
But you know what I mean?
Right.
There's always, rich people have problems too, I guess. And
Right.
But the flip side of it is, you always hear right after that, well, you know, let me try it because I don't believe you.
Yeah. That's one problem I would
money
like to
doesn't
try.
buy happiness, but you haven't tried being poor yet either. So.
Right.
But so I don't know. I felt like they portrayed that, you know, the actor and the doctor, they were just hollow because they weren't really getting, you know, the personal attention they needed.
Well, and I wondered, from my standpoint, if it seems like they're from the northeast part of the country,
Yeah.
where it's kind of a little more uppity than us.
Yeah.
And I think that might have been the disconnect for me. Is like, as far as society goes, they're from a completely different area of the country, and that may be where I'm having the disconnect. Is like,
Yeah.
you know what? I don't want to hear it.
The fictional setting is in Michigan, correct?
Yes.
But it's actually filmed in South Carolina,
Really?
I believe. But the connection being they all went to the University of Michigan. That's where they.
Yeah, they were all college buddies.
Okay.
Um,
See, I missed that. I thought it was like upstate New York or something.
Because wasn't there a football game on at one point, and they're all.
Yes.
Yeah, they watched it, and at halftime went outside and played football, and then, you know, so that was a big deal.
Yeah, I think in order to appreciate this movie, you have to put yourself in a mindset that's not maybe natural, or if you're not from that generation, some of the things they're talking about don't really resonate.
Yeah.
So then it kind of seems like, what are they really doing here? Or what's the point of all this? And what are they so upset about? But maybe for a boomer generation, they're like, yeah, I remember when I was in college thinking the world's my oyster, and then getting hit in the face, and just that experience rings true to me or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's the thing: we survived a pandemic. What are they complaining about?
Yeah, I mean,
knock on wood, we survived.
Yeah. Every generation's going to have something that they feel like they need to
Right.
to get through. You know, and this one was obviously the Vietnam War era, and the challenges presented there.
Well, I caught myself kind of connecting it with the movie Grown Ups with Adam Sandler and Kevin James, Chris Rock, David Spade.
Yep.
It's very similar. Where they all grew up together, and then they left, and their coach died, and that's what brought them all back together. And then they take a look at their lives and how that all panned out.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, it's very similar, and I don't know what it is. It's like, I had no issue with watching Grown Ups. I enjoyed that movie. It's like, this movie's similar as far as the plot line of...
Yeah, Grown Ups was kind of a comedy spoof.
Right. That's the difference, but like, they were all friends.
Yeah, I mean, same principle.
Yeah,
I
and a
agree.
death brought them all back together years later.
Yep.
And then they're all taking a look back at their own lives and their decisions up to that point. But for whatever reason, and maybe it's the comedic side of it, I didn't find myself sitting there rolling my eyes of having issues following the story with Grown Ups.
Well, it's because it had the comedy spoofs laced through it.
That might have been.
The silly characters. Yeah, I mean, I understand that. This isn't I don't know. I think you really have to want to watch this kind of movie to enjoy it.
Right.
So it makes it different. I've always liked this movie. I really love the soundtrack. I thought they laced the songs through it very, very well.
Oh, yeah.
And whoever did the sound on it was just a master.
Well, the soundtrack was so successful. Dozens of TV commercials at the time used that same music from used the music from the same period because it was so successful.
Yeah.
So that right there tells you all you need to know about the soundtrack.
Yeah. I think just, the idea of human fragility and, how fragile life is, and when something like that happens, it's hard to understand. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we just had a couple of school shootings here recently, or, shootings, and you start to tie in movies like this, it's hard to tell what'll come afterwards. And they did Grand Canyon after this, which is very, very similar, kind of midlife crisis, a little bit of racial tension thrown in. So I don't know, I kind of see, like, you look at movies of the 60s, which were very politically driven, and world news driven, and I feel like this movie kind of fit into that.
Right.
They were tackling a big several big topics of the time. Suicide and
which is
effects from a war. And friendship and business and hometown politics. You just kind of put it all in the mixing bowl and.
Right, and a lot of that stuff, here we are in 2022, and those issues are still
they're still
trying
around.
to be, trying to be addressed today.
Yep.
And it's sad to say that in some aspects, we have made zero progress in that amount of time.
Yeah, I just wondered. So the reason I went down that train of thought was I wonder if there'll be movies made in the next couple of years that will reflect back to what turmoil we'll see now. That we're seeing, like with COVID and stuff like that. If there'll be movies tackling the mental strains that our generation has seen,
right?
Where the younger generation is seeing right now. So I don't know, because it's just kind of like I say, I tie the music and the movies to what's happening in the world at that time.
Right. Picture a movie where there's a group of friends where it grew up around this time where they had certain ideas about the world, and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And then they get back together in their 30s or 20s or whatever, and they're like reflecting on.
Yeah, because if you're a young person, your career could have been derailed by COVID, or your high school years or your college years.
Right.
I mean, I go back to look at the kids that didn't have a senior track season or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so like the high school athletes where their basically their payment for college was going to be a college scholarship to play athletics or even band or whatever.
Yeah.
Any basically non-academic scholarship was put on the line because of that, and even the academic ones was, if you think about it, was put on the line because there was no school, and then there was a complete
remote learning.
Yeah, complete 180 on what you was normally used to learning. I mean,
and trying to go on a college visit. I mean, all those kids really got hammered. So
so that might be my part of my issue was. Justin and I were 80s babies.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. It has to be relevant to something.
So that might be my disconnect is like, this is one film that didn't age well because like the issues going on today didn't really doesn't line up. So they didn't. I don't know if it's
related to Grown-Ups though. What did you like about Grown-Ups that pertained to you? I'm assuming like water parks, playing basketball, at the park with your friends. Middle school sports. I mean, all those things you can relate to.
Right.
This movie didn't necessarily have anything you can relate to because I don't think we have any friends that are actors or big-time business owners or drug dealers.
Well, so like in
I don't know about Justin and drug dealer friends, but
well, so
no,
for
I'm
like,
joking, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, for or not drugs, for grown-ups, like you could see yourself as one of those characters, like being just the average guy, wife and kids, and all this. He's like. All these people were on paper successful, and they're still complaining. It's like
unfulfilled.
Yeah.
I mean, I think though that you're young enough that the world's still your oyster. You get to be my age, Joe. I'm 48. You think midlife is 35?
Yeah, I had a customer tell me the other day. We was talking, and she said she was talking about somebody else, and she said they're like you, early middle age, and I almost caught myself just getting irate, and it's like, hold on, genius, slow down. You are 35. Yeah. That is early middle age. It's like, I'm not old.
No, I understand. I'm just saying 35 is middle age.
Yeah, it's like, no, I'm not. And I wanted to argue with her. It's like, no, that's unprofessional, and two, she's right.
Yeah.
it was a weird
it's crazy.
Thought train in my head for like 30 seconds. It's like, I'm mad, but I don't know what to be mad about.
Well, I mean, it's crazy when you think it. An 18 to 20-year-old is a third of the way through their life at this point.
Yeah,
roughly. At the rate we're going, this is the generation now. Is the first generation that'll live less as long as their parents. First generation in the history of the world.
Wow.
Which is mind-boggling because you think of all the medical technology that's advanced, and all this technology and all this advancement in health and stuff that we have. We're going backwards now.
Yeah.
Just turn a corner. So the average lifespan's 75 or 76 or 77, I think is what it really is, 77. So now it's like 76.
Yeah.
So yeah. Welcome to middle age, Joe.
I'm not. Well, I can't say I'm not going, but I'm not going to like it.
I'm
going
with
kicking
you.
and screaming.
But see, that's why I think this movie kind of highlights that midlife crisis of all these. They've had kids. One wants to have kids because she's out of time. The guy that's struggling with the Vietnam War and his impotence, and what he has to do for a living, and he's lost, and and that's what Kevin Kline gives him a hard time about. He's like, when you gonna grow up, you can't just be a drug dealer forever, and then it's not good politics, and then Jeff Goldblum, who pretends he wants something more, but really he's just a crappy writer for a tabloid. So
Yeah.
shyster, I don't know.
A little bit of kudos just for someone to even take on a subject like this, but
Yeah.
it's not something you see very often.
Yeah.
It's not the
I think it's a hard sell. I think Kasdan had wrote, Star Wars, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Body Heat, stuff like that. He had the pull to do it at the time. But I agree with Joe. Man, super slow film. You have to really want to just relax and watch it and think about it.
And I think that's my biggest complaint. Is like,
hour and 45 minutes.
yeah, this could have been wrapped up in 45 minutes, an hour at most.
Yeah.
Because supposedly Kevin Costner dies within the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the film, the rest of it's just literally them sitting and complaining. And it's like...
Well, I thought what'd you guys think of the video sequence? Like where they were videoing themselves? Did that appeal to you at all?
It didn't totally stick out to me, but
Well, I thought it was neat how they started preserving their opinions and comments at that time. You know what I mean? That you come in and you're like, we got a camera. Let's go ahead and catch, because they didn't have anything of Alex. You know what I mean? He was gone.
Right.
And so I think they started preserving their history at that point.
Take advantage of the moment. And
Yeah. Because if you guys think, do you guys have any archives of what,
not really. No.
Yeah, I mean, Facebook, right?
Yeah.
I always say, if you want to know about me, just check my Facebook feed, and it's all about my kids. So,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
if you want to see where I'm at any given point, check Facebook.
Right.
Even my work Facebook, you'll know where I'm at, because
Right.
I'm either taking pictures of the farm, or or in the green room, or at one of the schools.
And from that aspect, I can kind of respect that, because as a little pet project of mine, I've had it for a couple of years now, a website that I've collected stuff from our county here,
Yeah.
and I've put a bit of website, and just every once in a while I'll post stuff that I find along the way, old videos, and like I have a video from 1929 in downtown Spencer I have on there.
Yeah.
And so from that aspect, yeah, I can kind of respect it.
Yeah. Well, let me back up too. If you were to tell someone about The Big Chill, one poignant scene or whatever, what is it for you? That's my favorite question. A little late with it today. Anything
Everybody
stand out?
hooking up.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, the wild last night of where they
I this one was hard for me to find a poignant scene on, and that's really hard for me to say, because no matter every movie we've watched up to this point, no matter how good or bad on the scale, there was always one scene.
Yeah.
And for some reason it's hard for me to put a finger on one.
Gotcha. Yeah. I don't know. I like their dinner scene
At the end?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you that. Yeah, that's a good one.
I like that one, and I like where they go out to their farm where Alex lived, and it was just desolate, and it was a cloudy day, and it just kind of represented the mood of the film, I thought.
Yeah. So, okay,
Yeah, kind of forlorn.
So yeah, the dinner scene, I'll go with that one. That is a good one.
So Castian based all these characters on real people. Which, how do you like to have been Jeff Goldblum's basis? Like, man, was that big a knucklehead? Really? All right then, fine. We're no longer friends. But
yeah, he's got a weird way of doing his kind of creeping around, flirting on the.
yeah,
girls.
gosh, he's looking to hook up with somebody.
Oh boy. You guys want to guess the budget? Or you already know?
Too much.
I have no idea.
10 million.
Man, it's got a big cast. I'm gonna go with 15 million.
8.
8. Gosh.
But who knows? That could be,
Yeah.
it could be
Yeah.
20 today.
Yeah.
or more. But definitely made money. 56 million worldwide.
Nice.
Was it just a slow weekend or what?
In the 80s, there was a lot of these movies, man. I'm telling you, it wasn't like it is today.
Yeah, well, yeah, because everything's so watered down and politically correct. It's horrible.
No, I just mean you got to have the entertainment factor. Today's movie, they won't make a movie today that is a think piece. It's all entertainment. I mean, here's my example: Billy Madison. What in the world? Happy Gilmore. I mean, Adam Sandler has made a career
True.
on just slapstick movies that are constant spoofs, regardless of how silly or dumb they are, and yet people love them.
Although I did watch an awesome think piece yesterday.
Oh yeah, lay it on us.
Freedom Riders.
I don't
Is
know,
that
I don't know
newer?
that one.
It's 2007.
Huh, I'm not familiar with it.
Really?
Uh-uh.
Stars Hilary Swank. Trust me, it's on my list, guys. But
Really?
yeah,
Well, you got next pick.
I know.
All right, well, let's rate this baby up.
Alrighty.
So, I think, gosh, you guys are making me rethink my pick now, or my rating, I guess.
Mwahaha.
Well,
I
I think I could only recommend this to somebody older or
You have to
somebody
be able
that's
to tap
super,
into it if you
yeah,
can't.
somebody super introspective.
Right.
Well, you want me to tell you what Cena's intake was on this?
Yeah.
Yes.
We always want to know.
Okay. Cena's thought was, it's the Seinfeld equivalent of a movie. And I started getting mad because like I'm a fan of Seinfeld. It's like you
Yeah.
don't insult it, something like that. She's like, it's a movie about nothing. It's like,
Oh,
okay, and okay, I'll agree with that. Because when she said it's a Seinfeld equivalent movie, I was getting mad. It's like, no, I like Seinfeld. This isn't
Yeah.
anywhere near. You don't have Jeff Goldblum sliding into the kitchen like Kramer.
yeah. I could see that reference, but I don't know. I think, the death of a friend, when it slaps you in the face like that is hard.
Well, as far as the subject matter itself, there's a good foundation, but I think it was just poor execution from my part.
Yeah. Well, and I think, too, I really, after you say that, I really think it's a generational thing.
I think you're right.
Because until you kind of hit midlife, till you have kids that are, old enough to kind of see how things are playing out as a family, and then, till you get old enough to realize friends are going to start dying, it's kind of crazy. We work with senior citizens, so it's kind of scary as they go through that scenario of life. But anyway. Okay, so Joe, rate us up. What do you got? Obviously not a good rating, but how bad are we saying?
Take it off.
Get it off your chest. It'll be okay.
Well,
buddy. It'll be okay, little buddy.
yeah. I wanted to give it a burnt, but I just couldn't. Like I save those for special occasions.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say
Well done, small.
well, a 3/4, like a small with like a small hole, and like you're leaving a trail of popcorn kernels back to your seat.
Oh my gosh! Really?
Nice.
And I just took the wind all the wind out of Dave's sail.
No, it's all right.
For me,
Hey, but I didn't give it a burnt though.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Justin, I have
Definitely-
no idea where you're going to be.
There's
'cause
a disconnect,
you-
and there's certain things you maybe can't get unless you, or it's difficult to get unless you. I wanted to watch it with my dad, so we could talk about it a little bit, but it just didn't work out. But
Because now I would have liked to hear your dad, because
Yeah.
maybe because I think that would have
yeah,
further
he's of the right generation.
Well, that would have further resolved the issue. Is it a generation thing or what? But go
I
ahead.
think there, maybe were just some laughs or references that here and there that totally went over my head and just didn't quite hit for me. And I think it could have been made up for if the ensemble clicked with me a little bit more too. So it's just kind of misses here and there where I think some performances that really entertained me with them, I could have just been like, I'm not quite sure what's going on, but this is entertaining and thought-provoking or whatever. But yeah, so you don't want to just totally trash on a movie that maybe you need a little bit more context to, and it would have helped to watch it with my dad, and then if he laughed at something, I could be like, well, what's that about? pick his brain.
Yeah.
Because watching it by myself, I was it didn't pull me in. I didn't feel like it was for me necessarily. And, yeah, I probably have to go overflowing small on this one.
I understand. You need to, I think, yeah, in 10 years, revisit this movie and you'll be like, oh, yeah.
And again, that may be the
Yeah, I that's where I'm at with it, but I understand. And this is so hard for me because this is one of my more cherished movies.
yeah.
But
So
it's
so
not
that's,
right for everybody.
right, and that's what makes it harder to gauge
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
this is one that you hold near and dear to your heart, but yet when you have to
Yeah.
look at it from a critical standpoint,
Yeah.
it's hard to
As
it's hard to
soon-
make that divide.
Yeah, I agree with you. As soon as I started watching this, I was like, oh, crap. This is not going to go well with Joe. Probably won't go well with Justin just because it's so slow and it's so demoralizing.
Yeah.
You know, and nobody wants to watch a movie where you walk away saying, crap, now I feel bad.
Yeah.
But for the right person, this would be an outstanding movie. So I'm going overflowing medium,
Okay.
just from a critic standpoint. But personally, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And I love the soundtrack.
Yeah.
I mean, my gosh, some of the scenes I just found myself nodding along, going, yeah, you know, especially Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of the Marvin Gaye songs, I was just like, man, what a soundtrack.
Yeah.
So I
What
like how
read
that plays
was,
in.
yeah, this was like one of the first movies to really go big on the soundtrack, and then
Yeah.
a lot of movies followed suit. After.
Yeah.
Yeah, I realized the music can make the movie.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, there we have it.
The Big Chill.
Big chill. Joe, what do you got coming up for us?
Okay. So I'm kind of torn, guys. So I need your guys' input.
Uh-oh.
Do you guys want?
No algorithm. Do you run an
Well,
algorithm?
I'm torn.
Okay.
You guys want algorithm or do you want a think piece?
I think algorithm is your niche, man.
Because I'm going to be up
But
front.
you know I like think pieces.
I know. So
Can we handle 2 in a row?
I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that to you guys.
I'm okay with it.
Oh, meant to. Okay, I didn't understand the question. So you guys discuss and tell me where you guys want.
I'm always up for seeing something I've never seen before, so if that factors in, I'm gonna
Yeah, I agree with that.
side with the one I haven't seen.
Because
I like the algorithm.
Okay, the algorithm is one I have not seen.
Ooh.
So I'm taking a Justin Gamble on this one.
Okay.
So I'll tell you the 2 movies: Speed or Freedom Riders.
I have not seen Freedom Riders.
Justin.
I've seen exactly same thing as Dave. Haven't seen Freedom Riders.
And I've seen Speed.
Okay, I have not seen Speed. So I may save Speed for. I'm going to change gears here. So do you guys want another think piece, or do you just want,
I'm alright with that.
or do you want to completely change it up?
Yeah, I'm okay with either. Actually, I'm okay with either one of those. I've seen Speed, but it was a long time ago. Sandra Bullock, Keanu Reeves. It's action, thriller, and then it's, you know, drama. But Freedom
Yeah, I have no
Riders, I'm
idea.
curious about. Let me look up Freedom Riders. I'm really curious.
I have
Who'd you
no
say,
idea.
Hillary Swank?
Yeah,
How Speed would hold up. I liked it as a kid, I guess, but
yeah. Freedom Riders, WRITERS.
I like the idea of keeping the thinking train going, but you know, I'll watch whatever.
Yeah, I think either of those are good, Joe. I have not seen Freedom Riders, so I'm more inclined to that. And you hadn't seen it, right, Justin?
Nope.
So none of us had seen it. If you want to go that route.
Okay. Well, as much as it pains me to pull away from the algorithms, let's do Freedom Riders.
That wasn't the algorithm pick.
No, the algorithm pick was Speed.
Really?
Yeah, I watched Freedom Riders yesterday for the second time. I was like, ooh, this would be a good one for you
Really?
guys.
For the
Yeah.
second time?
Yeah.
Now I'm really intrigued, Joe, for you to watch it twice.
Yeah. And it's a think piece.
Yeah, and it's not somebody setting off bombs or anything on fire, which Speed is all about that.
Right.
It's nonstop action.
Yeah.
2007. All right.
Freedom Riders with
Yeah.
Hillary Swank.
And what put me on this movie was I seen a Facebook post about the lady that this movie's based off of.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I was telling Cena about it, and I said, she has a movie. It's this. And Cena goes, I have that movie. She said, we got that. I said, where? And she said, here it is. I was like, well, let's watch it. And fell in love with it.
And you watched it twice.
Yes.
Now I'm super intrigued, Joe. Huh. Okay, I'm excited.
Yep.
For you to watch it twice, yeah, I'm in.
Got
Let's do
Patrick
this.
Dempsey. All right.
Yeah, America's Most Sexy Man there a while back. Handsome devil from Grey's Anatomy. I like Hillary Swank. Have you
Yeah.
guys seen $1 Million Baby?
No.
Oh my gosh.
I don't remember. anything about it,
Heartbreaking,
really, but-
heartbreaking movie.
Well, this one, I'm going to lay down the gauntlet on this one.
Yeah?
Yeah. Based on your guys's, I'm just gauging this on what we've done in the past.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll be shocked if you guys go lower than a small, or lower than a. Yeah.
Jeez, I'd be shocked too.
Yeah. I'll be shocked if you guys go lower than a large.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, now I'm super intrigued. Okay. All right, good. Let's do this.
All right.
Freedom Riders next week. Everybody go find it.
Yes.
Let's watch it. Okay.
Yep. All right, that wraps it up, doesn't it?
Yeah. Take us out of here.
All right, so for all the news and reviews, check out our website, beentherewatchthat.com. Follow us on social media. We're at BTWT Pod. And be sure to subscribe to the podcast, Been There, Watch That. We're on all the major platforms, and all of our episodes are hosted by Anchor.fm.
All right. So for myself, Joe, Justin, we'll be back next week with Freedom Riders. Stay up to speed with all our shows. And Justin,
Been there, watch that.
and there we go. Everybody have a great week. See you next week.